Good morning to all of you. Good morning. You know, I'm usually the one who's late, but because this was for Alex, I was here at 10 minutes of 10. And then Osnat called and said, you know, these are students, they won't be on time. So those of you who are students, I just want you to know I sympathize. Anyway, it's very nice and it's very touching to see all of you here this morning and to have the auditorium be full. Esty said when I came in that it's sad this morning, and I said that the sadness, alas, has happened already. It's really a very nice thing to have a moment like this, a time like this, which can be a memorial moment, which in a way can also be a little bit celebratory of a life and of an achievement, and to continue with occasions like this, the kind of work that Alex was committed to during his time here. So today is a day to celebrate Alex Ward, who was first our curator and then senior curator of design and architecture for 13 years, beginning in 1999 through 2012. Alex retired in the spring of 2012, and he passed away far too soon thereafter, in the fall a year ago. Alex started his life in Scotland. He studied there, then he studied in London. He married Esty Noble, an Israeli artist and designer there. After Yonatan was born, they moved to Israel. Yonatan is here and Esty is here, and we are very pleased that they're both here with us. When Alex first came to Israel, he was at Betzalel as head of jewelry and metalwork, and then he was a teacher, and then he started his time here in 1999. 13 years, which in a way seemed short, but in a way was a period of great accomplishment for him. When I asked Osnat to give me just some details, she did it a little bit with numbers: 19 exhibitions, 12 international symposia, 70 designers who came from all over the world during those years to be here with us from time to time. But I don't think we want to talk about Alex's accomplishment here in terms of numbers. I think what we want to talk about is how this museum's commitment in design and architecture is to the notion of looking worldwide, but from a perspective that is here locally in Israel. And this is actually exactly how Alex saw his role here. I don't want to talk about his entire history of exhibitions and projects here, but when you look at the list of what he did, it's interesting to think about the first show and the last show as a reflection on what his accomplishment here was about. Alex arrived in '99. In the spring of 2000, he did his first exhibition, which was on Druch design. It was called Druch design from the 1990s and beyond. It's funny to say the 1990s. It sounds like a long time ago, but then it was of the moment. It's interesting that Alex arrived and the first show that he wanted to do was on Druch, which had actually been a subject very close to my heart because it was the last design exhibition at MoMA before I left there to come here, and it was the first exhibition that Alex wanted to accomplish when he got here, and it was exactly to the point at looking at developments elsewhere, but from a very specific local perspective here. And he also did immediately after opening the exhibition a symposium with members of Druch Design, and it was very engaging and very energizing for the audience here, and it really sort of set the stage for how Alex would conduct his life here. And his last exhibition, which I'm sure you all remember, was Curious Minds, New Approaches in Design, for which he invited, these are numbers, but they are meaningful here, 30 young practitioners, I think nearly all under 45, who came from 15 countries, nearly all working in countries, practicing in countries where they hadn't been born, and all of whom were involved in using technology to produce poetry in contemporary design. For us, this was a really exciting project because in a way it was about synthesizing design and art and fine art. And again, On that occasion, the opening was accompanied by a major symposium. More than half the designers were here, and it couldn't have been more energizing, and in a way, it couldn't have been more resonant with Alex's own biography as someone from somewhere who came somewhere else and looked through a lens from a different place to do what it was that he did. In a way, being an outsider from inside, and for each of the designers who came to participate in the symposium that accompanied the opening of that show, this was also part of their narrative. You may remember that the show became very popular. It really captivated our audiences, none of whom wanted the show to close when it closed. And in a way, there could have been no better tribute to the impact of Alex's career here than that project. By the time that Curious Minds had opened, the renewed Israel Museum had been open for a year and a half, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention Alex's accomplishment in creating the first permanent display of design and architecture in its own gallery here in the renewed museum. That gallery is with us today, and it remains as a testament to Alex's contribution. Today, you're going to have the privilege and the pleasure of spending the day, in a way, extending Alex's legacy by listening to 6 designers who've come from the US, from the UK, and Europe, who will reflect on trends in design worldwide. Also, it's very nice that today's being sponsored by a number of Alex's friends, and I want to mention them because they were all quite close to him. Meryl and Dahlia Berman from Scarsdale, New York, Andrew Kogan from New York, from Knoll International, Philippe Cohen from Paris, Mark Benda from the Friedman Benda Gallery in New York, and Evie Masha Schechter from here in Jerusalem. Also, we are sponsors, as are Shankar and Betzalel in different ways, and it's very nice to have that embraced by Alex's personal friends and by institutional friends, and again, it's a nice reflection of his presence here with us today. And really, if it is as if he were here today, because there could be no better way than this to remember him. So with that, I want to ask Esti to come up to say a few words before we begin the program for the day.